Hey girl, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Misha. Thank you guys for joining me yet again for another review. Tonight we are reviewing The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills Season 11 Episode 3. If you are here for the first time, then welcome. If you are back for a second or third time and you have yet to subscribe but you enjoy my content or just something to listen to on your commute home, then I'm going to need you to stop right now and subscribe to my channel. Before we get into it, I want to say this. I have had some pure ignorance in my comment section lately. I am in the fight of my life right now. I am fighting to keep my child. Okay, so I'm going to have these comments turned off because tonight's episode was a really heavy one, and I'm not in the mood for no ignorance, honey. I would hate to change your impression of me. So let's get into it as we get into it. When the episode first opens up, we see that it's picking up exactly where it left off, right? So Crystal is asking Sutton if she sees color, right? She's like, are you that girl? Please tell me you're that girl, the girl that doesn't see color. She said, yeah, I'm that girl. I don't see race. I don't do it. Crystal said, well, to say you don't see race is like brushing it under the rug. And it is. It's a blanketed statement. It's kind of like saying all lives matter. We're not saying that all lives don't matter, but in this instance, we're talking about Black lives mattering. Now, Sutton, some could argue that Sutton is saying because she sees us as equal, but we're not. Okay, we're just not. But to see race means to me that you see me and you know there are some things that I face that you may not identify with, but you need to hear those things. You need to hear my perspective. We need to have the tough conversations because when we go out in mixed company, others see race. So I'm going to need you to know that statement. She's like, well, why is that a bad thing? It is. Okay, because it's basically like you saying, okay, I don't see race, so therefore I don't want to talk about it. I'm not guilty of it. I'm just going to leave it alone and let everyone else in the world handle it. It doesn't work that way. Okay. So Sutton said, to even get into it, it just upsets me. Here go Kyle. Yeah, me too. Like I literally lay in bed at night and think about my conversation with Garcelle. Kyle, I don't know if I believe that. And I'm just going to leave that there. I do not believe that you lay in bed and think about your conversation with Garcelle. I just don't. Sutton says, so you were trying to hurt her as a person, not as a race. She's saying this to Kyle. Okay, so then she starts to cry. Here we go. And she says, I just don't like this. I don't like this. We don't like it either. It's hard to have the tough conversations. Your tears, okay, you're crying your tears. We see that. But at the same time, we need you to understand that there are some tears and some bloodshed that we have gone through that we can't just say, I don't see color. We can't do that, okay, because it's our harsh reality. And I'm going to need you to get with it, Sutton, okay, because this right here ain't making no sense. So she says she doesn't see race and why is that bad? So then Sutton said, you know what? Let's not do it. Crystal said, but race exists. I'm proud of my race. And I feel like Sutton sees race as, do you see it as like an eye color or a hair color type of thing? And she's like, no, I just don't see race. Crystal said, well, do you want to know about me? Do you want to know about my ancestry? She's like, yeah. She's like, okay, well, that's color. Sutton said, well, maybe I'm naive. Okay, glad you can agree. Kyle said, what she's saying is she sees all of us as equal. Well, sadly, Kyle, we are not. I mean, we're just not. So Crystal said, well, let me tell you that line is not the same. Agreed. Crystal then goes on to say that she thinks that the generation that Sutton is in is above her, where they were taught to be colorblind. And she said, Sutton's 20 years older than me. Now here go the shady producers, because y'all know I love a good shady moment. The producers pan over to Sutton, and we realize that Sutton is only 12 years older than Crystal. Okay. I was like, oh, them shady producers, honey. And I'm trying to figure out how old exactly are they. I meant to get on the Googler before I did this review, but I don't know what kind of moisturizer is being used, honey, but 12 years older. I'm 10 years older than my sister. So I would never look like Sutton looks as far as in comparison to Crystal. They look ages apart. Crystal basically said that, Sutton's perspective is outdated. So then Kyle said, a penny for your thoughts, Crystal. Crystal said, you know what? Let's just agree to disagree. And I concur. Let's just agree to disagree because you don't want a whole bunch of child. We're not trying to choose violence. So just go ahead and agree to disagree. The next morning, the ladies are all getting up for breakfast. Okay, they start talking about Kathy, right? So then Sutton said, Kathy came in my room with her fan and like 8 pillows. Honey, Kathy said, I thought this was a sleepover. What room everybody in? I know that's right, Kathy. Kathy was like, wait a minute. This is a girls trip, right? Shouldn't there be a slumber party taking place? Honey, then they show us the clock. It's 12:22 a.m. Kathy roaming the halls. So Kyle said, well, she got in bed with me. She was eating chips and drinking Red Bull at 1 a.m. Child, Kyle said, are you drinking Red Bull? She said, oh, I thought it was a soft drink. No, Kathy, Red Bull gives you wings, child. Child, you're going to be up all night long, honey. Kathy is a night owl. That's my kind of girl, honey. I would have got in bed and ate chips with you, child. We would have watched Netflix, ate chips, drank Red Bull, and talked all night long, okay? So Lisa tells the ladies that they will be doing bike riding on a train track, okay? A little bit of exercise, and you can go out into the wilderness and whatnot. So Kyle said, well, what's happening with the election? Kyle. Erica said Biden and Harris are going to win, hands down. And what else is going on? So then Rena says, when I did The Apprentice, Trump was really, really professional to me. Of course he was, honey. It's not you that we're worried about. Of course he was. So Lisa said, the person I see now, I extremely dislike. Honey, then they pan over to Garcelle and Crystal sitting there like, sure you do. They go to wake up Kathy, and now it's like 9:37 in the morning, right? So Kathy is still asleep. Of course, she been roaming the house all night drinking Red Bull. Y'all better not wake Kathy up. She probably went to sleep 5 minutes before Kyle went in there. So Sutton goes to ask Crystal to talk because she wants to smooth things over. So they go outside, and she said, listen, I don't want you to think that I'm insensitive to another race or culture. I don't know why I reacted that way. I do. You reacted that way because you don't like to talk about things that make you uncomfortable. You don't want to have to answer questions. You don't want to have to answer to what someone has experienced. So you start hooping and hollering, honey, and deflecting. That's what happened. So Crystal says she believes Sutton, and she said, I believe that you see everyone equally. And she said, I do. She said, the thing that got me was when you said to me, are you that girl? Like, I didn't like that. I didn't like the fact that you said, are you that girl? Okay, so this talk is about you convincing her you aren't that girl because it doesn't sound good. That's what I'm getting from this sit down. You want to sit down with her to basically put it in the air that you're not that girl and you don't like her saying that you are. This is not for you to tell her that you see her point of view. That's just my opinion. So Crystal said, I get it. Then she tells this story about being a young girl and some man started yelling at her dad and telling him to get out of our country because they're taking all of their money. And her dad was really scared and just ran into the car. He didn't speak a word about it. And she said that she never forgot it. And she starts to get really emotional. She said, people see color, and that comment that you made, that holds us back. People see color, and if she can shed light or educate them, then it may change their perspective. Offended you, or you're mad at me for or you're angry at me for crying. No, it's not if I offended you. I hate those kind of apologies. Just say it straight up. Listen, I offended you. I'm sorry. My tears were not meant to upset you. They were because I was confused, or I didn't, I was just taken aback that we were having such a heavy conversation when we were simply talking about Garcelle and Kyle not getting along because of the donation. I had no idea it would turn into that. It's so many different ways you could have said it. She said they all have their own perspective and their own opinion, right? So then she said, when I was 25 in New York in an elevator, someone heard my accent and assumed I was racist. These two are not the same, okay? They're not the same. Someone assuming you're racist because you have an accent isn't the same as being hated because of the color of your skin. You can adopt a new dialect. We can't change the color of our skin. It's just not going to happen. I'm just, child, okay. So they said that, they were cool at the end of it and they hugged it out. Okay, child, let's move forward. It's 11:02. Kathy's still sleeping. Kathy gonna break the ice, honey. Kathy's still sleeping. Kyle said, she used to sleep with tin foil on her windows. Ooh, child, Kathy is a mess, honey. In the car, Crystal tells them she was named after Crystal Gale and Crystal Carrington, right? So Garcelle said, well, you know what? She shouldn't repeat that. And she said that in her confessional. And I was thinking, why? So I go on to the Googler or whatever. And I didn't see anything bad. It just says that one is a country singer and one is a fictional character from Dynasty. Maybe the character that Crystal Carrington played was something totally different, but Garcelle, honey, pipe down. So as they're riding, Erica says, this is where the most fugitives live in America, Gardnerville. Honey, not you looking for more real estate just in case, child. Oh, let me find out. So they said, well, how do you know? Honey, because she been looking for real estate. Child, she going to have to go over there pretty soon. She said, oh, someone told me that. So they get to these bikes, right? So Sutton is still a little bit off kilter. So she says, I don't like it because I like to be in control. I'm a dancer. I like to know that I like to just be on the ground. Lord, they complain about everything. Everything. They don't want to carry their own luggage. They don't like the way this looks. Complaining. Oh, that's the only thing that gets on my nerves about Beverly Hills in New York. It's always like, oh, I don't want to touch that. That's gross. Child, get in there and be like the rest of us, honey. So, anyway, so she was like, yeah, because I just don't like it. So Sutton says, we don't have these things down south. Since when does Real Housewives of Beverly Hills talk about the South every 5 minutes? Honey, leave us alone, please, respectfully. So Crystal says, you know what? I'm competitive. I used to play sports. I like to drive fast. Me too. I love driving a fast car, honey. I cannot wait until I can afford me a Maserati. Okay? So Sutton starts waving, and Kyle's like, who's that? She's like, oh, no, that's just how They start riding the bikes, right? Oh, let me tell you that. So they start riding the bikes, and one car is going faster than the other. So Sutton's nerves are getting bad when I'm so confused how you can get up into an airplane 1,000,000 miles in the sky, 1,000,000 miles high, and you're fine with that, or a private jet, but you can't be on the ground in control of pedaling your own car at your own speed. Honey, I was so confused. So then she starts waving. Kyle said, who's that? She said, oh, that's just how I get rid of my anxiety. Honey, not waving away the anxiety. Okay. Y'all a mess. On the ride home, Sutton and Crystal get to know each other a little bit. Sutton tells us that her dad committed suicide, and I'm very sorry to hear that. That was a serious moment. So Crystal also shared that her dad passed away. And so, that's something that they kind of bonded over. Child, this is my thing. If we all just gave each other a chance, there's some commonalities in all of us. That's what that scene told me. Okay? So they go to look for Kathy. Child, Kathy comes running out so unkempt, honey, talking about, I put eardrops in my eyes, only for a second though, but I kind of flushed it out. Honey, Kathy forgot she was on the show. She ain't even changed her clothes. She ain't brushed her teeth. Honey, I love it. I love it. So then they go and sit outside, and Sutton starts complaining yet again. I hope we're not driving an hour for dinner through the mountains because I'm really not in the mood. So Garcelle said, you're like a princess with a pea under her mattress. Honey, facts on facts on facts. Facts. Like, Sutton, calm down already. I hate a complainer. When I go on a trip, I hate a complainer. I don't like the itinerary. I don't want to do this. I don't want to go there. Do we have to eat here? I don't like this. My hair won't do what it's supposed to do. I don't like my shoes. I don't like that when I'm on a trip. Please sit back and enjoy the fact that you're on a vacation. Like, oh. So Kyle comes out and she sees Sutton's slippers, right? And she wants some for her girl. So they found out that they're Vetmont. I've never heard of Vetmont, honey. Probably not in my tax bracket. So Kyle Googles them. Child, tell me why they're $2,000. Listen, my mom bought me some of those same house shoes at Walmart, honey. They was during the Christmas, during a rollback. They were $12.95 and they rolled back to $9.97. Okay. We had some of those in the 80s. Child, let me find out Vetmont over there stealing from Walmart. Child, I'm not about to play with y'all. So they talk about Kyle's family, and then Garcelle says, Paris came to the real, and she's using her real voice now. I'm like, oh my gosh, honey, not the shade. And so, she said it to the right person, because had it been me, Garcelle, I would have cussed you out, okay? Because this is my child you're talking about. But Kathy was like, you know why she's doing that? She's very confident now. She's more confident in herself. And I always felt like Paris was putting on as a character. I'm like, this cannot really be her, honey. It has to be a facade, okay? So then she's like, yeah, and when I would go to parties, I would always wonder, like, why are you here? Like, you're on your phone all night. Child. Ooh. Garcelle, that was rude. I understand you want to be forthcoming and you just want to say what's on your mind and you want to be honest, but it's a way to say it, okay? Because I do feel like had the roles been reversed and Kyle or Kathy or someone said that to you, you would have had a fit. Okay, so I'm going to need you to just Make sure that you have a little bit more tact when you're speaking to someone, especially Kathy, honey. She ain't doing nothing to nobody, honey. She don't even know what day it is, okay? So Kyle and Kathy said, you know what? It's because she's shy. Paris, that's hot. Hilton is shy. Okay, girl. So then they get ready for the dinner. Garcelle and Lisa, once again, are the first ones to get down. And they're like making this awkward small talk. And Lisa was like, that's quite a beam. They were looking up at the ceiling. And then Garcelle said, yes, quite a beam. And then here comes Kyle, just like in the airport. I'm like, child, if y'all don't wait around upstairs until you hear the rest of the girls downstairs so y'all don't have to interact with each other because it is awkward. So then they make it to the restaurant, right? And Kathy asks about red wine because they're all sitting down. She's like, is anybody having red wine? So Kyle kind of shouts down to her, I'm having a margarita. Kathy said, what? I can't hear you. Child, Kathy can't hear. She can't sleep. She can't see. Oh, Lord. So then Kathy does a toast to Lisa. Side note, Brenna, in this confessional with that pink and that hair pulled back, honey, keep that. That makes you look 10 years younger. Now, this little dude that you ain't gonna never get rid of, I could do without that. And that black wig, and it looks like they sprayed on your hairline. It's really weird, and you have on all black. I don't like that. But this pulled back pink look, child, that is what it is, okay? So Sutton tells Brenna about last night, right? And how she got upset. So they're like, why? She said, I don't know. I guess just being Southern. Oh, my God. Here we go again. She's like, I guess just being Southern. Then she looks to Erica and says, don't you think being Southern, we have to prove we're not racist? Erica said, no. I know that's right. Y'all, go on with that, Sutton. That's something you done created in your own mind, honey. Being deemed racist and not being a racist, okay, good for you. But don't sit around and act like that's the same thing as us being beaten and having to pick cotton and being battered and killed in the streets at the hands of cops because we're black is the same thing as somebody looking at you and you having a Southern accent. Girl, gone, honey. Goodbye. So she said, you know, I have seen and heard a lot of people do some racist stuff, but I don't think people assume that I'm racist just because I'm from the South. Exactly. So Dorit starts chiming in and she said, you know, as being a child of the world, I never knew people assumed you were racist because you're from the South. They don't. This is something that Sutton is carrying around to try to justify her actions. Girl, anyway, so then she says maybe because Erica is more well-traveled and, you know, she's more worldly. But Sutton didn't like that. She's like, I'm worldly as well. Okay, girl. But you the one keep saying South this and Southern that, bringing flask and doing all this other kind of stuff. So, child, she's just trying to figure out why are you saying that. Kathy breaks the ice. Oh, thank God. And says, you know, I have already had 2 martinis. Let's do a bottoms up. So Kathy said, listen, we're going to have fun on this trip. And those of you that don't want to have fun, you can watch us. What would your daughter say, honey? That's hot. I know that's right, Kathy. So then she said, Dorit, would you like to have, you know, a bottoms up with me? Would you like to do that? And she's like, yeah, sure. So they proceed to do these bottoms up, right? They chug these martinis and everyone is like, what? So then Dorit downs hers and Erica is looking like, oh my God, I cannot believe that you just downed a straight martini. She was like, I'm impressed. So everybody starts texting on the table, right? Now, Lisa and Erica are in on it. Okay, so Rena, I thought you didn't lie. Honey, I thought you didn't lie. You said last night, I don't know how to lie, I don't know how to do this, but you put on a good show at this table with these watered martinis. So then Kathy said, what time is the after party? Again, Kathy, that's hot. Honey, I know that's right. So Kathy, baby, she want to keep taking the drinks back, but little do they know that the drinks are actually water. So the prankster is getting pranked. Everybody's in on it, and Sutton is looking to and fro, honey. She's so paranoid. Oh, ever since she's had that conversation with Crystal, she's been uneasy. She don't know which way to go, child. So she looking back and forth thinking that they're texting about her. And so then Kathy was like, yeah, we're just waiting on the after party. Kathy is the life of the party. You know what? She adds a comic relief to such seriousness. Not saying we don't need to take these things seriously, but I watch Real Housewives of Beverly Hills for the opulence, for the fancy cars, and for them spending $5,000 on a piece of gum. That's why I watch the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. But when you insert people of color and we have to have the hard conversations, and they have to do all the emotional heavy lifting, it's nice to just have like a little bit of a break in order to laugh a little bit. Okay, because y'all know I'm goofy. So They flash back to the scene with Kathy asking the waitress to make sure it's water instead, right? So Sutton is looking crazy. They're all pranking each other. In the Sprinter, Crystal kind of kicks Sutton to let her in on it. Now, Sutton was saying she ain't never had this happen to her before, but I have. As a friend, like me and my friends, we have a look. We just look at each other and automatically know what the other is thinking. Or I've even had my mom sometimes like kind of pat me a little bit or hit me or kick me. Like, be quiet. Don't say that. You know what I'm saying? But that's what women do. Honey, you should know that, being from the South and all. Girl, goodbye. So Sutton said, she kicked me. My leg is very thin and it hurt. So now you're trying to make it like she's trying to choose violence. Girl, goodbye. So Garcelle said, it was a joke. It was not about you. So Sutton did not like being in on the joke. She said it makes her feel very uneasy. So they get home and Sutton starts crying, right? So Garcelle is like, hey, were y'all just please say you weren't texting about Sutton underneath the table. And she's like, why would you ask them that? She's like, because I want you to know that they were not texting about you. Now, Garcelle, I don't feel like you should have asked them that, because I'm the kind of person that I may be a little bit paranoid about something that's happening because I'm feeling a little bit uneasy. But I don't think she wanted to just lay it all out on the table, because she just doesn't want any more upset with the ladies. Okay, so, but I'm glad that you did stick up for your friend to let her know, hey, they're not talking about you, girl. This was all about the joke. So they all sit down and they start talking about it, right? So Sutton is on high alert since last night and extremely sensitive. But to her defense, literally everyone was in on the joke, because Garcelle was saying in her confessional, we can't tell everybody, then it wouldn't be a prank. Well, everyone was really in on it except Sutton. Now that I look back at the episode, everybody was in on it except her. So she didn't want to be involved. She just wanted to know what was being talked about. And it's kind of rude when everybody's whispering and talking and you don't know what's being said. So anyway, next time just tell Sutton. Problem solved. Basically, Kathy thought she was pranking them, but they were pranking her, honey. The prankster was getting pranked. Sutton says, well, I've never had a friend kick me under the table. I've never had a friend do that. Crystal said, okay, I'm sorry. But, just get over it. Oh, child. Oh, baby. So then Sutton's like, oh, thank you. Thank you so much for that apology. Oh, that was really nice of you. And she's like, Sutton is just proving my point that I thought that she is who I thought she was last night. So then Kathy started all this mess, honey. And she just sitting over there looking. Probably don't even know what they're talking about. Who kicked who and what happened? So then a little later, the ladies go upstairs. We see Kathy, Kyle, and Sutton all sitting down in their PJs, right? Here go Kathy. She kicked you from all the way down there? Oh my gosh, she has long legs. So who kicked who? They're like, Kathy, no, in the Sprinter, she got kicked. Why did she kick her? I'm not about to play. I'm not about to play with Kathy at all. And that was the end of the episode. Child, this was a heavy one, okay? What's this girl's name? Sutton, honey. A little bit of your Karen was showing this episode, okay? I'm going to need you to know that even though you have friends of different races, we are different color skin tones, honey. We are different races. We have to come to terms with that, because just turning a blind eye to it is really insulting to us. Because when we are fighting for what we are fighting for, we're going to need to know that you're on one side or the other. That's all I'm going to say on that. This episode was pretty heavy, and I'm sure throughout the season there are going to be other heavy topics and other heavy things that will be talked about, and we will have to discuss them. As I said, these comments will be turned off because I'm not having such a good week, and I don't want any ignorance underneath my comments. I said what I said, and I ain't changing it. Please do not hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. As always, stay safe, stay blessed, spread love, not germs. Peace.